Hey, greetings. And today we're going to be looking at preventing file modification with Google Drive API. So once again, welcome to the channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. And most importantly, reach out to me in comments. There's going to be a video link in the video description for the lab. Most importantly, reach out to me, like, and share. And once again, on this lab, we're dealing with file modification with Google Drive. We're going to be working with Angular. Now, Angular is the preferred choice for web applications always want to work. Angular is the web app. So let us go ahead and get started. So first thing we want to do, we want to go ahead, download the web app. And then after we download the web app, we want to open up the terminal to the root of that and run this command npx ng serve lock, right? So we're just dealing with file locks. And then as we're doing that, what we want to go ahead and do is set up their credentials like so. So we're going to copy. So we're going to go ahead, head over to our environment. We're going to head over to our lock directive, and we want to give ourselves access to the credentials. Now I want to go over and head over to consoledevelopers.google.com. Go ahead, create new credentials, give ourselves an API key. Just kind of interesting. Hold on. Just want to refresh the page. Always want to refresh the page because even though Google's about async in real time, it's not always the case, right? All right, let me go ahead and restrict this API key. Right, so now I want to head over to our environment, right, and populate the API key like so. Yeah, now that the app is able to open up. Also, we want to make sure that we go ahead and restrict the key. Right, we want to restrict the key. Yes, this key cannot call any API. That'll be that definitely if we don't have some good security on some of our systems. We want to go ahead and just just send this only to the Drive API. Really bust up that security there. Right, and now we have our OAuth 2.0 client ID. Right, you also want to create that the OAuth client ID is represents the actual application. As you can see here, you have a web application. You know, even though it's an Angular app, really just trust me when it comes to really setting up that Google application. It really just comes in as another application, standalone application on its own, right? So, however, it will require a web application to get this done, right? You want to go ahead and create our OAuth client ID. Right, and then we want to copy it, and then we want to place that right here. Right, so now at least Angular gets to know about it from our environment. Great. See, now that's set up, right? This is going to be our environment to deal with that lock API. So now what we want to go ahead and do is after like so, we want to go ahead and connect to the API. All right, so we're gonna swing back over to our lock directive. We're going to go ahead and load the auth SDK. And really, we wouldn't need the auth SDK. We're not going to need the auth SDK. What we really want to do is you want to use REST APIs because when you're loading client libraries, that's just all that extra space, that's all extra kilobytes and megabytes, a few megabytes. Hopefully, if it's libraries larger than a megabyte, imagine loading that on mobile, right? It's not going to be pleasant, right? But you definitely want to be using a REST API call so you can make a REST API call to the endpoint that you need. And I definitely love libraries with GraphQL. Hopefully, I haven't seen it with Drive. Implement GraphQL. That's something we have to do that will require a backend. And since this is client only, which is not good because we kind of have our credentials client side. All right, there's a lot of factors that go into that, but obviously this is just to understand. Obviously, when you get to have a backend implemented in your app, right, you can go ahead and use GraphQL. Anyway, let's say, so this is how we log in. So what we want to go ahead and do is we're going to click this button in order to log into our app. right? So we're able to log in and we want to provide for scope, right? If you always see this error, right? This is not an error. It's only an error if it's in red, right? That means I didn't tell the async handler just to go and deal with the login process. That's okay. Let's go clear up and let's go try to lock a file. Right, so now since we're connected, what we want to do is we want to be able to lock a file. So what I have here in my drive is I have folder 1 and I have a bunch of documents. Nothing in there, right? We have a bunch of GDocs. So what I want you to go ahead and do is if you don't have a GDoc available, I want you to go ahead, create a new GDoc, right? And then type some text into it, right? As you can see here with commented document, I have some text in here, right? And we want to be able to get the ID. This is the ID, right? This is actually very important. We want to be able to hold on to it or refer to it, right? Because if we actually lock a file that's not a GDoc or its line type it's not really in a way you can lock a file, like how you were to lock an image. You really can't really change an image, right? Then you're really not going to see it. So if you're not seeing that the file's getting locked from my demonstration, if you do your own demonstration, please just go ahead, grab this ID, and what you're going to do is you're going to replace some code, right? So now let's copy the code to go ahead and lock a file. First things first, we want to go to environment.drive. Want to go ahead and copy out this lock object, lock up like so, right? And now I'm going to head back to the lock directive, environment lock create, copy, and paste like so. All right, so what we can do now, what you're going to do is going to grab the random file. What this function does is we're going to grab the random file, right? And we're going to send it to the information to the subscription, right? Async handle so that we can see. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take this file. We're going to take the raw file and we're going to go ahead and lock like so. So let's go ahead and do that in the app. We're going to lock a file and I believe we're going to get back. All right, so there's a little hiccup there, but right, we get back the metadata for the locked file, and right, the name is commented document. So you can see here that let's try to open up again because I think it stayed locked. Right, and then you could see we get that locked symbol, and then you'll get a notification, right? Which will be in the middle of the screen, but you get a notification that we're not allowed to work with the file. It has been locked, right? And but if we're the end user, right, we're able to unlock the file. However, if someone's sharing it with us, I love to try to demonstrate that. But I think you could also demonstrate that. I think you could also extend it with the rest of the modules, right? We can see that the case that will be, right? So this is how we go ahead and lock a file, right? We want to make a patch request with this body object, as you can see here. So let's go ahead and try to unlock that same file. So we're going to go ahead and copy this code, right? First things first, right? We want to change up the environment. Always want to be working to the right environment, so you kind of know what's going on. We know we're allowing and not allowing. Environment lock, delete. I want to just delete that lock. We want to take that lock away. We want to go ahead and get a file, right? And now this time, what we want to go ahead and do is you want to see if we have that read only, right? If you have that read only flag there. Then get files, right? Content restrictions. I'm asking for that field if it's available, because if it's not available, we're not going to see anything. So you loop through each one. If it has the content restrictions, right, we take that off, right? Go into lock a file. Now we're unlocking a file. I like to update the text, but that's really not the point here, right? So now what we get back is that metadata that we're looking for. And now you're going to go back to our drive. We're going to go back to the folder file that was locked. And we can see that it has been unlocked. And then we can go ahead and edit it like so. Right, so that's how you could go ahead unlocking files in Google Drive API. Definitely I'm going to put the link to more resources that you can work with just to see how you could go ahead, get granular with it, how to choose an end user to how to choose, say, if this file is being shared, which person is not allowed to make edits. I'm really thinking that this is supposed to be on a global scale, but we'll see. So thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Most importantly, reach out to me in the comments. I'll paste a link in the video description to the lab. Thanks for watching.